Hey, give me that back.
When you're up on the line in rapid fire and they say load, you've got a minute to call ready, and you can go. That's your point.
What's that?
So we're kind of restricted by that, and kind of brings up the challenge a little bit more.
Say hello.
Hi.
Say hi, Joy.
Hi, Joy. Hey, John, that 1 hour, John?
Yeah.
You get callous
Look.
to competition.
That 1 hour battery is charging.
Uh-huh.
When you get through playing with that, this little light goes off.
Uh-huh.
Put that big battery in place of this one and first charge, and we're going to get charged up.
Okay.
And when you get through with it, instead of putting it in the box, put it back on the tripod.
Okay.
Mistaken for red perfume. I'm a little sick.
Hi, John.
They wouldn't even have a first-round bye. They would have to host a wild card game against either Kansas City or Houston. In this scenario, San Diego and Buffalo would both have to play in the wild card round, and Pittsburgh, which has a 10-2 conference record, would wind up with home field advantage throughout the AFC playoffs, and Miami would have the second best overall standing in terms of a first-round bye, which they would get, and home field against anybody except for Pittsburgh. This is the playoff picture in the NFC. San Francisco has clinched everything, home field advantage, and in fact, with the Super Bowl in Pasadena, if they continue to win, they would never have to leave the state of California. These teams are in, at least for wild cards. Dallas is the likely NFC East champion, but if they lose tomorrow to Atlanta and lose next week, and if Philadelphia wins next week, Philadelphia gets a tiebreaker.
You're going to win?
The division, but that's not likely. Dallas likely to be the champ of the East. New Orleans is a wild card. Minnesota the champion of the Central. Philadelphia at least a wild card, and probably more than that. And the last wild card spot to be contested between Washington and Green Bay. Washington has the tiebreaker, and so they clinch it if either they beat the Raiders next Saturday or Green Bay loses at Minnesota on Sunday. The only way the pack gets in is if they win and the Redskins lose.
I'd like to go to the North Pole. Though I know it's awfully cold, but I wouldn't care how much it snows. I'd just like to spend Christmas with Santa. And I'd like to meet Santa's wife. I just know she'd be real nice. Now I wonder if they live in a house of ice. I'd like to spend Christmas with Santa. Oh, I'd like to.
At Smith's Food.
Hi, Ross.
Why is everyone?
Oh.
Utah's #1 volume.
Hey.
Could it be the huge selection, the central location, the volume discount? Could it be the lower monthly payment? Nah. Larry H. Miller Chevrolet Geo, home of the $58 a month payment, is repeating this incredible offer. A new 92 Geo Metro for just $58 per month for the first 6 months and nothing down. Think of it.
Oh, wait, but I have my own version of it.
I'm the owner. Can I help you? What is it?
Smile for the fat lady.
You seem to have some freedom here.
Not that big.
Hey, hey!
Because they can keep an eye on us. Don't deceive yourself. Nobody's free. I'm free.
He's got a face. They're gonna bite you.
What is this place? No, what this place is. This is the resistance. This is where you come when you think you're ready to escape. And then, do you escape? That's up to you.
What is this?
And there is no hope. There has to be hope. Come on. Be silent and you'll be safe. Nobody move! Can I be of service, gentle? He's in here. Hurry up, quick! I don't want to come. I don't want any trouble. Now, nothing is lost. Nothing exists but here. You do. I told you.
Oh, you really like that, huh? Maybe I've been thinking I think it's time you had your own room. But I just about there ain't live in a cabin just not like this. I never will forget the day my daddy hung my curtain. Oh, I thought I was a real princess. Why don't we run back here and try it What are we going to use? You have something else with so you do? You want to stay in your room? Hey, 1, 2, 3. Ah, hey, that's pretty good considering we're all in professional. Oh, let's see. You should. Ah, you have got a lot of talent. You are. That's real good. Now get right down to it. Not packed. It really matters. What's inside the wrap? What's got to do with your heart? That's what you need. True. That's very good. What's that? Just the same as my father's dress. I want you to hear something. See if it makes any sense to you. From you.
Hello.
Hello.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Okay, so you winning?
Yep. Swamping him's tail.
He looks like Jungle Jim wading through a bunch of toys here, and he doesn't get much help from his teammates.
But Elway is very good at escaping.
Well, you know, again, Dennis Smith had the great quote. He said, you know, John Elway is great at making something out of nothing, and right now we have a lot of nothing to make something out of. He just did it again.
First down from the 42-yard line. Elway gives to Reggie Rivers, and Rivers, perhaps with his ears still ringing from trying to block Cortez on the last play, has only gained him about a yard.
You know I hate cameras.
Do you hate cameras?
I hate cameras. They're evil.
Oh, okay. Well, then say hi for Karen
I'll
Joy.
put up with it.
Wasn't I, boy?
Come on.
Oh, yeah, I'm sick and tired of hearing about it. You go on and on.
Kitty.
I'm gonna die. I'm gonna have fun.
That would be a good idea.
Any good snakes? Sit in the jewelry box.
Hi, John. Did you like it tonight?
It was good.
Good.
Oh, what are you talking about?
I know. Are you really filming?
What do you think?
Huh?
What do you think?
I don't know. Kitty?
No. I'm gonna
Video. Whose job was to do that?
Well, Santa's job. What do you mean?
Boy, Santa Claus must have been full by the end of the night. After getting cookies at my house and at your house and everywhere else, probably.
That's right, son.
And precisely what or who is a horrible Horatio?
Mr. Bolden operates various theme parks throughout the country. As a matter of fact, today at noon he's previewing his latest venture, Horatio's House of Horror. It's just for the press and a few close friends. But we would really love it if you could join us.
Hey, that's it. Could we have that? Could we? Billy, I don't think. Could we, please? I want to go through.
Where?
Oh.
Of morality.
It's like she'll be here and then all of a sudden she'll take into a mad frenzy.
Oh,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she could say she's a psycho. Should take her to therapy with That's actually
What do you think living room?
go back to the days when she was taken away from her mother and worked through it.
Person, Daniel, Montgomery. No, Daniel. Don't give me that. I want your opinion about what we should do. Let's pretend it's your decision, okay? Pretend you're a caveman or your father. What do you want me to do?
I want whatever you
I want to have
Well, great. Let's have it. Let's see how I can screw the fourth one up. Hey, let's have fun. Let's have six. Let's have a dozen and pretend they're donuts.
What are you watching, sis?
Really happy about the way they should be, aren't you? John Lucas is the winner in his first game as San Antonio's coach. The final was 113. Parade blips that ignited the champ. Playing in Buffalo. Phoenix.
Jamaican, Sharla.
A baby blanket for my grandchild.
All right, I give up.
You hope they're hard to catch.
This is December
I did my best.
22nd,
Oh, by the way, do me a favor, will you?
1992.
Don't tell anyone you saw me here.
Why?
That's my Ellie.
You done?
Done? Why nothing?
Then why did you run like that?
Oh, well, you see, by nature, I'm very shy.
on this light.
You don't look it. Here's your things.
Oh, thank you very much.
And you better not be lying around again.
Just a moment. Does my nose look funny?
No, not very. What's the matter with it?
Well, I don't seem to be able to feel it.
Oh, it's frozen. I'll fix it.
See if you can get her to come to you.
Oh, look out! Look out! That's the only nose I've got.
Now just be still. All it needs is circulation. How does that feel?
Well, it's still there. Thanks for saving it. You know, you get a little attached to these noses after you've had them for a few years.
I know. And you want to take better care of it.
Color your holidays with great classic styles.
I'll turn that back to the invitational. 19. Let me just see it a minute.
This?
Walker is hitless in the game.
Try 18 or 17. This is it.
Right. And
The BYU? No.
yesterday I watched Duke yesterday, and Hardaway got mad at me because
Yeah. BYU plays at 10 o'clock tonight.
I better get back into the race and fast.
We don't have any lights on our Christmas tree right now. The cat ate them all. She did. Something about them reminding her of her mother somehow or other. I hope she got shocked really good.
I think she did because I saw her chewing on one once. Well, I didn't really notice it, and then all of a sudden I heard it go. I heard this little. And I heard. And she was sitting there doing this.
I'm going to open up those drapes
What are you doing here?
and show those lights that we have going in the back.
No, I mean, what are you doing in St. Christophe?
Well, I was at the conference. You know, the conference?
Oh, yes. You want those reported?
Yes, that's right, the reporter.
Oh, you ain't put down?
No, the village inn. Chief.
How long did you sleep?
Now, my place. What are you doing tonight?
I fell asleep after
I'm
school.
about he's at the hotel.
3 and
Uh-oh.
6.
Somebody's coming.
My tubers don't fall down much. But what do you do when the snow's all gone and the hotel's closed?
Wait until it opens again. Well, let me know everything about me. It's late and I must go.
Oh, but why?
I'm working, girl.
Here, let me help you. There we are.
Hello, kitty.
Will I see you again? I've been seeing you every morning.
Nothing but a tail.
Yep.
Oh, just a minute. What's your name?
Lily Heiser!
Oh, I'm Rudy Miller.
Call her, Sharla.
Yes, Emily, I agree with you entirely.
See if we can get her to come out.
Permit me to be the first to congratulate you.
Now what do I head her out?
Why?
Lily, my child, at least you might have told me. We are proud, my dear. You will, of course, remain with us exclusively.
We are not signing anything yet.
I can match
Huh?
the
Yeah.
other side. She was my discovery. Your
Uh-oh.
discovery, but I'm her too.
She sees the spotlight on you.
Why? You trying to pull those up?
I can't keep her in the picture.
You mean if you want me to stay?
Certainly.
Keep it right around in this area because I can't see her any farther than that.
My child, come and remember who you are. I beg your pardon.
Good morning, Herr Johnny. Can I see Lily?
How dare you come here at a time like this? Have you no tact?
But I want to see Lily.
Shine it in that bag and see if she goes over to it.
Now go. Never darken that door again.
What's Herr Johnny?
You was that?
The garbage man. Now then, when will you be able to move?
You? Where?
Why, the hotel.
I can't keep her in focus.
Rat traps on the third floor. Certain enough. It's the adjoining suite.
But Uncle, we can't afford it.
Lily, my dear child, you are a mere baby in arms. Now, you let your old uncle handle this, will you? Now, how long will it take you to pack? Pack. Let's go. Come, Lily. Hurry up. Here we are.
Come over here by the machine and shine the light right square in her face and see if we can get her eyes to shine green and
Well, don't you have to have the light out?
no.
But I haven't any coffee.
Put it right up here by the lens so it shines directly into her eyes. Here, kitty, 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 kitty.
Your Excellency
You
is
zoom
quite
in.
right. There are too many people around. But if Mademoiselle doesn't spare me a moment later...
Thank you, gentlemen. Please forgive me. I have so much to do.
Oh, Miss Hyper, Mademoiselle, hold it a
You
minute.
shine it right in her eyes. Kitty, 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 kitty.
It's going.
Oh no.
Kitty, 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 kitty.
If you please come. And you too, sir. Quite so. Now, fine. Hold it.
Oh, that's pretty.
Will you give me a second?
What a beautiful cat. Okay, over in that box again for that bag.
Unfortunately, I'm not at liberty to discuss to understand what I can tell you this. In confidence, it was love. Love at first sight.
You know, Nottingham, I never felt better in my whole life.
What's
This place is doing wonders for me. So I gathered. Must be the climate. Must be. What's the matter with you today? Nothing. Nothing at all. You know, this is the only place in the world where the snow doesn't hurt your eyes. But what I like about it best is I do exactly as I please, without anybody sticking their nose in.
Well, aim that zapper right at me
Involving Sino Overseas
and push the play button. Yeah, I'll hold it down.
But really made in China.
Yeah, I can see the little light flashing. Looks neat.
And evidence gathered here in Hong Kong over the last few years shows that the Sino Overseas Company has illegally shipped more than 1 million guns to the United States.
Ingeniously hidden near Nova Scotia is a treasure named the Money Pit. Guarded by ghosts, it is said to be Captain Kidd's buried loot. Venture to retrieve the wealth of the island of the obsessed on Treasure Hunters.
paper. At least it has a crossword puzzle.
I'm the correct answer.
I blew it, didn't I?
On the take-home exam.
Where is
Oh,
it?
yes.
Find it.
Here's some of the goodies we've collected today from the neighbors.
Here's some of the weight we've gained while eating the goodies.
The humidity, the pressure.
That's the
Everyone on this
caramel corn from, who gave us the caramel corn, Sharla?
How come everybody else can sleep
Herons.
and breathe?
And some chocolates from the Strongs. And some homemade candy from Lois Mons. There's our
Even better than LA Law used to be.
ceramic Christmas scene. And our ceramic reindeer
Don't miss the
on top of the television set.
Find out what's behind Picket Fence's Fridays. Wednesday, December 30th, the world's greatest entertainers salute the actors, the dancers, the musicians, the legends.
Okay. That should do it for tonight. Say goodnight.
There's nothing like the bond between a man and his
Kids, this is your grandmother.
taking a plunge is easy
And
as
she's crocheting blankets for you.
You can just pick a note. This is for you. Oh, I can.
Just give me the note. It's
Joy.
here. Is that my note?
Not here, but here.
Oh, you mean you want me to do Melody?
If you want to try it.
I didn't know what you wanted me to do. That's my note. Wait, wait. That's not my note. Joy to the world, the Lord is come. Let earth receive her King. Let every heart prepare in room. And saints and angels sing. And saints and angels sing. And saints and saints and angels sing.
It was pretty good. We went kind of flat, but that's awfully high for you.
Yeah.
If you try it lower.
Joy to the world, the Lord is come. Let earth receive her King. Let every heart prepare in room. And saints and angels sing. And saints and angels sing. And saints and saints and angels sing.
Okay. Do you think, I don't know their other daughter. That Mr. and Mrs. Richard L. Openshaw, Nathan, Katie, and Guest. Should I mean, I hate to leave some girl out.
No, I don't know what you mean.
Please? Boy, you're not smarter. Mom, what do you think? What? Inviting brother and sister Openshaw. I know their daughter Katie, she's the one who sewed my dress. And their little boy Nathan, but they have another daughter that's always away at school. So I've written Mr. and Mrs. Richard L. Openshaw, Nathan, Katie, and her guest. I didn't know the other girl's name. Should I?
If you already done it, why don't you just put and family? You white it out. I whited out a lot of Maryland's. Just put and family, and that'll cover it all. If you're gonna name one, you have to name them all.
They make white out of the Giant Economy aerosol can size.
And so I'm going, well, here's my great holiday. I've gotten a lot of sleep. I know, but what am I going to do? I'm supposed to finish this thesis by the end of the school year. And I'm going, well, I've now blown an entire quarter, and it will be the semester before we're done, because I'm getting that play ready to open at the end of January. So that's going to take up my extra time. So that means I'm going to here. I'm working with my advanced drama students, and they're doing matchmaking for Fort Wilder. It's the totally based Philadelphia, and they're really very cute. And they're doing a very good job of it. But I'm starting to have that little panic attack of, and will they really get their lines memorized? And will they really manage to? Because that's something I can't do for them. Either they will do it or they won't. Yeah. And if they don't, I'm not playing. If they do, it will be great.
That's true.
So we're just sort of dealing with that. As soon as that's out the way, I've got to put my real portion thesis, because I've got to get it planned out, and then you have to submit a proposal to see whether or not your committee, the committee of people or supervision work will accept it as being good research work. And if I'm going to be doing what I think I'm going to be doing, which is a survey of gifted junior high school girls and possibly senior high school, I'm not sure. If I'm going to do that, I have to do it spring quarter. Because then I've got to get it written up over the summer. It's got to be accepted so I can graduate in August, so we'll start paying me more money in September.
Good plan.
I mean, my eye is on the ball. We're talking top of the salary scale, and I better do something or I'm going to regret it deeply. But I was great on time for my classwork. I was so sincere. And now I'm just going.
We got some good pictures of you, Claire. I'm going to shut this off so that you can relax. It looks great.
Oh, yes, I'm sure. Reviewing that. I'm just really sure.
I'm just going to have it running while we're
You
eating.
got the camera on now.
I know. Hey, John, come on.
No one's going to want to watch eat.
Oh, yes, they're going to want to watch you dish up and have all the Chinese food that we're having tonight. This Chinese food right here. Come help yourself, Roger.
You will.
Oh. Oh.
What kind of soup is it?
It's that's egg drop. I'm having hot and sour. Did you hear that I called your house to ask you what kind of soup you wanted?
Yeah.
And I didn't hear your answer, so.
Would you tell me what everything is?
Did we get a shrimp or something?
Yeah, there's a shrimp for you. One shrimp, some wontons. These are pork stuffed wontons or meat stuffed. I don't know what meat. This is chow mein, tiny spicy chicken, beef with broccoli, fried rice, and this is the sauce for the shrimp and the other stuff.
You're hoping.
This is hot and sour soup.
And this is?
That's egg drop soup.
What's in an egg drop
Regular
soup?
Chinese soup is the kind of soup that you'd have.
It's a clear broth. It's good. Good, I like it.
Okay.
Where did you get all this stuff from?
At China Candy.
China. Okay. What else can you use for a little little egg drop soup? Do you want
Yes.
some egg drop soup?
I'm going to try.
Couple of cherries?
Well, it's New Year's Eve, and it's already New Year's Day over in England. And in a half an hour it'll be New Year's Eve New Year's Day at New York. We were going to stay up and watch the ball drop, but I don't think we'll make it. I'm about ready. How about you, Sharla? This is our 1992 New Year's Eve. Happy New Year.
Yeah.
Darlene's up at Rogers. They're going to hot tub, and then I think she's going to spend the night because they have things to do. She's going to
Go meet Darlene.
stay at Rogers' house. And our little Joy Ellen has gone out with some friends, and then she's going to be house sitting at her friend's house. House sitting their cats and dogs while they go on trip. John's been invited out with some friends to a party. The cat, well, this is as excited as she ever gets. And Sharla and I are just having a home New Year's together, huh, Sharjane? How many years have we been just having a home New Year's Eve together?
22.
A lot. It's been some year, huh?
Yes, we've done that.
There's still some good things left. Gonna have a nice wedding coming up. Our Joy will graduate from high school this year, and Darlene from college.
Mel got married. And John will turn 16.
Can you believe it? You ready for that? You want to watch the big ball drop, or should we go to this thing? I'll turn the recorder off.
You finished with this?
Yes. Hey, kitty.
The extent of it. Kitty, kitty, kitty. Open your eyes.
Turn on that hall light a second. Yeah, that's better.
These and these are from Mrs. Bill's cookbook that I got for Christmas.
Did you have a nice Christmas?
Yes,
Did
very
you
nice.
hear about our news?
No? Oh, yeah, about
That we got
Darlene.
engaged.
Yep.
Yeah.
She was at Sunday school that day.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. And you weren't feeling too good that day.
No, I think my days of going to church is over.
Nothing.
I just am so exhausted.
Can't function.
My big production of the day is to shower and get dressed. That wipes me out. The tumor is pushing on my lung or invading my lung, and I breathe real fast. And it just wears me out.
Yeah.
You know,
Have you been back to the doctor?
like probably next time I see him, I'll learn to see when I ask for more.
Well, everybody I've talked to wants to talk to you, but they don't want to talk about it because they're very uncomfortable.
It's so awkward.
But we don't want to think that you've forgotten. I mean, I knew you were in a church Sunday, and I called you Monday, and nobody was answering the phones. I figured, well, they either don't want to be bothered or they're gone. And then I got so busy with life.
I usually
Okay.
spend most of the day in bed, and I have earplugs in and the answer machine. I don't really
That's good. Why you gotta? That's all you can do.
That's all I can do is write. Oh, thank you for those grief, because I can't bake.
I know you can't.
I can't do anything.
How about meals? Who's doing all that?
Well, they started a couple nights ago, because the meal was it really does count.
What about the other three?
The other three,
Jerry's doing it?
The other three is Saturday and Sunday, and he's home, and then Tuesday, and so, and there'd probably be enough leftovers, you know.
Yeah.
So,
How's your
I hate
appetite?
to even poke on from that.
How's your
Appetite. It's not
Here.
real, it's not real great. I have to make myself eat because, except if I don't, I get nice.
Yeah.
And if I wait too long, you know, into mealtime, I'm eating.
Well, I don't know what I can offer you, but my help, my prayers, you know.
And so, the bake could be wonderful.
Well, I know Carol Monson said he talked to Sharla lately, and I said not for a week ago or so. She said, I just don't want to say to her because it's so uncomfortable. I guess she had to get up and in one of the meetings that you were in and had to leave. She was just bawling.
Really?
Yeah, she just couldn't handle it. And I said, well, all you need to do is tell her that you're thinking about her and you love her. You know,
It's really hard.
she says, I know, but it's so hard for me to just say that without blubbering.
Well,
I said,
you
well,
know, that's
so
not...
what if you blubber?
Yeah,
So what?
I do my share of blubbering, I'll tell you.
Yeah.
My friend from Brigham called today, and she started bawling, and I started bawling. We got over it. We lived. Not much else we can do. But we're really happy about the wedding.
Yeah.
We're so busy getting everything put together in 4 weeks. And
Where's this going to happen? In Salt Lake?
well, they get married in Salt Lake Temple, and the reception is Disney World, and it's down.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, it's not going to be a formal line. We don't have bridesmaid dresses.
That's what I was thinking, you know, if Jill ever decides to get married, you know, she wants a nice big wedding. Well, I said, well, you shot that. You shot that idea when you had your baby. I said, you know, you're not getting a big wedding. You will have a little wedding like Jean and I had, you know. Of course, we went to the temple, and she won't be, you know, but she can get married by the bishop, you know, in the chapel.
And have an open house.
And have an open house, you know, right at the ward with little finger sandwiches or whatever, you know, just keep the costs down because there's just no money.
We're having my friend in Bergen City cater this whole thing, the food and the decorations. And she was way cheaper on the food than any place that I found in Salt Lake. She could do it for a third less, which when you multiply it by 700,
Yes.
that really makes a difference.
Well, we didn't have too many people come to our reception just because we were new there, you know. And, we didn't actually stay there very long either afterwards because within a couple months I got pregnant with Jill and we moved within 9 months. But I mean, I went to, I think, there's a bakery down back, Brockman's something like that. And I ordered the wedding cake. And then somebody in the ward volunteered to make the little ribbon sandwiches, multicolored bread, so I went and got the stuff, you know, and she made that. And I had some punch, and that was it.
Yeah.
I mean, that was no expense hardly at all, you know, and I borrowed my wedding dress. I mean,
You know, it's for one night.
I mean, I've got it. I mean, you know, it was like $20 or something. It was, and she let me have it. She was scared. But, you know, hardly any expense at all. And I had a nice wedding. I mean, I could have used a little bit more, like, professional pictures and stuff, but there was no funds. And I said, hey, if your father and I can do it, you can do it.
Yeah.
And then this big gal event with bridesmaids. I mean, you'll be lucky to have your sister and maybe Dave's sister.
So you think she's going to be doing very
I don't know. We had a big long talk Monday with everybody involved. That includes his dad, who lives up in Ogden with his wife, and his mom, who lives in Bountiful, and us and the kids. And they never said boo. I mean, they didn't say a word the whole time we were talking. And it was the one around, you know, we opened with prayer, and we just felt it was a very well done meeting.
That's good.
But the kids didn't have anything to offer. And so we figured they were probably letting it go in one ear and out the other, or just kind of laughing at us under their breath, or whatever, you know, I don't know. But they didn't have anything to offer. And, but we just laid down some laws. Dave's not gonna go to school. He's gonna go to work and fulfill his financial obligations to both Jill and the state. You know, he owes the state $500 for beating her up last summer. So he's gotta come up with that by May. He's gotta provide child support for Jill. The Medicaid, I guess, will go after him otherwise. Then when he gets that $500 paid off in May, then he can start, you know, earning more money or whatever, and then maybe go back to night school, finish his high school diploma. As far as his auto mechanics course, I don't know how he'll ever do that. You know, he's just about finishing that, but that's not going to provide him with a high school diploma. That's just going to give him a job. Once he finishes that, then he can go in auto mechanics, but he still won't have his high school diploma. But Dad said there's always night school, correspondence school, whatever. You know,
Did he take his GED?
I don't know. I don't think he passed it.
So, what is their feelings? Do they want to get married?
Well, I thought so, and yet when we asked them bluntly at the meeting, well, you know, is marriage in the offing?
Yeah.
And Jill looked at Dave, and Dave said, I don't know what I want to do.
Well, and it probably shouldn't be pushed too far down too.
Yeah, Jean came to the conclusion that
No kidding.
if they did, you know, the best idea would be for them to get married. There were three options: either put the baby up for adoption,
Which she wouldn't do.
which she wouldn't do, but if they can't take care of her, maybe one of the grandparents could. And so we would adopt her. Second option was Jill live at my house, Dave lives at Dad's house. They both go to work, save up money, and live separately. Jill takes care of the baby. And the third one is marriage. And so we haven't really found out what they've decided because they haven't decided anything yet. They hardly even talk about anything,
Well,
I
by not
guess.
deciding it, sounds to me like they're just going to keep things where they are.
Yeah.
The Dwarf and the Cobbler's Sons by Mary Pulver. A long time ago there lived in Friesland a poor cobbler and his three little boys, Franz, Friedrich, and Fritz. He was a very poor cobbler indeed. He had scarcely any shoes whatever to mend, and times were very hard, and the winter bitter cold with heavy snow upon the ground. In the cobbler's house were only the poorest sort of things, not in the least like the things you are used to. There was no bed like yours, with plenty of warm covering to snuggle into on cold nights. The three boys slept together on a thin, cold bed of straw, and had for cover only a single blanket as full of holes as a slice of Swiss cheese. And their clothes were hardly any better, so as you may imagine, they did a great deal of shivering. As for food, the best the poor cobbler could manage that winter were lumps of boiled cornmeal, a delicacy I am sure you would never care for. Now, as Christmas approached, the cobbler's three sons felt sad, for they feared the good Kris Kringle might miss them, which in those days sometimes happened. But on Christmas Eve, the cobbler got tidings of a bit of work to be done, 20 miles away, where a fine lady had lost a button from her little silver dancing shoes. So he said to the boys, "My lads, I will leave you for tonight. Tomorrow is the Christ child's birthday, and perhaps if I hasten to this lady's house and repair her shoe, I may yet have a farden or two to buy a bit of good food with. It is a long journey, and I will not return until morning. But lie you snug and close as you can under the blanket, and let no one enter in my absence, for the wolf prowls ever at the poor man's door, and the cold winds may rush in and make you ever colder." And the little lads promised. So the cobbler gave to each a lump of cornmeal, the last the poor man had, and wrapping himself in his thin cloak, for all the world like another slice of Swiss cheese, was gone. The three boys huddled together in bed very quietly, nibbling their meal. They had little Fritz in the middle, and they tried hard to pretend they were warm and comfortable. But it was very cold, and they could hear the wind blow. And through their little window they could see the bright stars shining in the cold blue sky. Suddenly there came a brisk knock, tap, 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 right on the outside of their door. The boys were startled. "It must be the wolf that our father said waited outside," whispered Franz, but Friedrich called loudly, "Who is there?" "Ah, me, voice. I am so cold, and I am so hungry. Pray let me come in. It is the wind, said little Franz. No, no, said Friedrich, it must be someone in distress. Who are you? He called. Ah, me, shivered the voice. So cold, so tired, so hungry. Pray let me in. It is the wolf, perhaps, trying to fool us, said Franz. Oh, no, said Friedrich. Look out the window, Franz. Quick, and see. Franz looked. In the corner of the window, they could see the top of a peaked hat. Such a hat as poor old men used to wear many, many years ago in Germany. It cannot be the wolf, cried Franz. A wolf never wears a hat. And I am sure you will agree with him. It is someone who needs our aid, said Friedrich. I am sure our Father never meant us to deny shelter to the needy. And with that he rose and opened the door. Into the room sprang one of the dwarf people, a tiny old man clad in scarlet with twinkling eyes, apple cheeks, and a gray beard that reached nearly to his toes. Hola, he said, at last you hear me and let me in. Why did you not open before? Our Father forbade us to open the door for fear of the wolf. I'm sorry, faltered Friedrich. The dwarf only twinkled his eyes angrily. Ha, he cried. A warm bed and 3 great loafers in it. Make way, I pray, for I am cold and tired. And shutting aside Franz and Fritz with his elbows, he sprang into the warmest part of the bed and rolled the blanket tightly about him. Little Fritz began to cry, but Friedrich hushed him, saying, Patience, brother, I will wrap my coat about you. The old man is both tired and cold, and our Father would wish us to share his bed. The dwarf then perceived the cornmeal in the children's hands and snatched greedily at it, saying, Come, selfish ones, will you lie here and fill yourselves with good food before my very eyes? Have I not said that I am hungry? He made as if to take Fritz's cornmeal, so that the little boy wept again, whereupon Friedrich offered his. He is but a baby, the little one, and knows no better, he apologized. Pray have mine. Our Father would not have us let a guest go hungry. So the dwarf ate both Franz's and Friedrich's cornmeal, then rolled over to his side, complaining bitterly that they crowded him, that he must have more room. Suddenly he sat erect. There is not room for so many, he said sharply. One of you will have to get out. You, Friedrich, are the eldest. You shall go first. The others may take turns. Go you to yonder corner and stand upon your head. Now Friedrich thought this a strange request indeed. It was bad enough to leave his bed without turning upside down, but he was a polite little fellow and just a little bit afraid also of this sharp-tongued little man, so he obeyed. Down on his hands he went, and up went his heels. Instantly there came a funny sound. Pop, 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 thump, 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 tap, tap, went something, and there down on the bare wooden floor, dropping from his pockets, came a perfect torrent of nuts and apples and oranges. Oh, every kind of nut you could have ever heard of. Hickory nuts, walnuts, chestnuts, butternuts, peanuts, right down to the end of the list. Great handfuls of them, and apples by the dozen, fat and rosy, and oranges, great bounding golden fellows. You may be sure there was a shouting then and a leaping to capture these fine treasures. Hello, cried the dwarf, so that is what you have hidden from me, my fine lad. Let us see what rest you have. Franz, you next. Down on his hands went Franz, and up went his heels. Sure enough, his pockets too seemed to be filled, for with rat-a-tat down on the floor came a stream of bright candies. Oh my, I cannot tell you all the kinds. Think of every kind you like, of every kind you know. There were chocolates bursting with cream, mints and marshmallows, great lumps of taffy and fudge, lime drops and gumdrops, but what is the use? There was enough for a whole confectioner's shop. Now you may be sure the brothers laughed and shouted louder than ever as they gathered up the goodies. Small Fritz next, shouted the dwarf, who seemed angry with Franz for hiding such goodies. They had to help Fritz because he was so small. Down on his hands he went, and up they turned his little heels. You'll hardly believe what happened then. Dear me, if you and I could have such luck. But think how pleased the good cobbler was when he returned. For out of Fritz's pockets, clip-clop, sharp on the floor, there fell money. Beautiful gold thalers, enough for firewood and blankets, and new shoes and coats, and a fine roast Christmas goose. Suddenly Friedrich remembered his manners, for he knew now that the dwarf had come in with kind intentions, that he had tested their charity and found it true. For had they not shared their best and the things they had themselves needed? Oh, sir, we thank you, he began, then stopped, as well he might. for the dwarf was gone. Not a sign of the little gray-bearded man in his scarlet clothes did they find, nor did they ever see him again. But a voice cried through the window from outside, "A happy Christmas to the cobbler and his 3 sons." And that was all, except, of course, all the beautiful things to eat and piles of golden thalers which made their poor little room so bright.
The Christmas Apple by Ruth Sawyer. Once upon a time there lived in the Tyrol a little clockmaker by the name of Hermann Joseph. He lived in one little room with a bench for his work and a chest for his wood and his tools and a cupboard for dishes and a trundle bed under the bench. Besides these there was a stool, and that was all excepting the clocks. There were hundreds of clocks, little and big, carved and plain, some with wooden faces and some with porcelain ones. Shelf clocks, cuckoo clocks, clocks with chimes and clocks without, and they all hung on the walls, covering them quite up. In front of his one little window there was a little shelf, and on this Hermann put all his best clocks to show the passers-by. Often they would stop and look, and someone would cry, "See, Hermann Joseph has made a new clock. It is finer than any of the rest." Then, if it happened that anybody was wanting a clock, he would come in and buy it. I said Hermann was a little clockmaker. That was because his back was bent and his legs were crooked, which made him very short and funny to look at. But there was no kinder face than his in all the city, and the children loved him. Whenever a toy was broken or a doll had lost an arm or a leg or an eye, its careless Mutterchen would carry it straight to Hermann's little shop. "This poor kindlin needs mending," she would say. "Canst thou do it now for me?" And whatever work Hermann was doing, he would always put it aside to mend the broken toy or doll, and never a penny would he take for the mending. "Go spend it for sweetmeats, or better still, put it by till Christmas time. 'Twill get thee some happiness then, maybe," he would always say. Now it was the custom in that long ago for those who lived in the city to bring gifts to the great cathedral on Christmas and lay them before the Holy Mother and Child. People saved all through the year that they might have something wonderful to bring on that day, and there was a saying among them that when a gift was brought that pleased the Christ child more than any other, he would reach down from Mary's arms and take it. This was but a saying, of course. The old Herr Graf, the oldest man in the city, could not remember that it had ever really happened, and many there were who laughed at the very idea. But the children often talked about it, and the poets made beautiful verses about it, and often, when a rich gift was placed beside the altar, the watchers would whisper among themselves, "Perhaps now we shall see the miracle." Those who had no gifts to bring went to the cathedral just the same on Christmas Eve, to see the gifts of the others, and hear the carols, and watch the burning of the waxen tapers. The little clockmaker was one of these. Often he was stopped, and someone would ask, "How happens it that you never bring a gift?" Once the bishop himself questioned him, "Poorer than thou have brought offerings to the child. Where is thy gift?" Then it was that Hermann had answered, "Wait, someday you shall see. I too shall bring a gift." The truth of it was that the little clockmaker was so busy giving away all the year that there was never anything left at Christmas time. But he had a wonderful idea on which he was working every minute that he could spare time from his clocks. It had taken him years and years. No one knew anything about it but Trudy, his neighbor's child, and Trudy had grown from a baby into a little house mother, and still the gift was not finished. It was to be a clock, the most wonderful and beautiful clock ever made, and every part of it had been fashioned with loving care. The case, the works, the weights, the hands and the face, all had taken years of labor. He had spent years carving the case and hands, years perfecting the works, and now Hermann saw that with a little more haste and time he could finish it for the coming Christmas. He mended the children's toys as before, but he gave up making his regular clocks, so there were fewer to sell, and often his cupboard was empty and he went supperless to bed. But that only made him a little thinner and his face a little kinder, and meanwhile the gift clock became more and more beautiful. It was fashioned after a rude stable with rafters, stall, and crib. The Holy Mother knelt beside the manger in which a tiny Christ child lay, while through the open doors the hours came. There were kings and there were shepherds, and 3 were soldiers, and 3 were angels. And when the hour struck, the figure knelt in adoration before the sleeping child, while the silver chimes played the Magnificat. "Thou seest," said the clockmaker to Trudy, "it is not just on Sundays and holidays that we should remember to worship the Christ kindlin and bring him gifts, but every day, every hour." The days went by like clouds before a winter wind, and the clock was finished at last. So happy was Herman with his work that he put the gift clock on the shelf before the little window to show passers-by. There were crowds looking at it all day long, and many would whisper, "Do you think this can be the gift Herman had spoken of, his offering on Christmas Eve to the church?" The day before Christmas came, and Herman cleaned up his little shop, wound all his clocks, brushed his clothes, and then went over the gift clock again to be sure everything was perfect. "It will not look meanly beside the other gifts," he thought happily. In fact, he was so happy that he gave away all but 1 penny to the blind beggar who passed his door. And then, remembering that he had eaten nothing since breakfast, he spent the last penny for a Christmas apple to eat with a crust of bread. These he was putting by in the cupboard to eat after he was dressed, when the door opened and Trudy was standing there crying softly. "Kindlin, Kindlin, what ails thee?" And he gathered her in his arms. "'Tis the father. He is hurt, and all the money that was put by for the tree and sweets and toys has gone to Herr Doctor. And now how can I tell the children? Already they have lighted the candle at the window and are waiting for Kris Kringle to come." The clockmaker laughed merrily. "Come, come, little one, all will be well. Herman will sell a clock for thee. Some house in the city must need a clock, and in a wink we shall have the money enough for the tree and the toys. Go home and sing." He buttoned on his greatcoat, and picking out the best of the old clocks, he went out. He went first to the rich merchants, but their houses were full of clocks. Then to the journeymen, but they said his clock was old-fashioned. He even stood on the corner of the streets and in the square crying, "A clock, a good clock for sale!" But no one paid any attention to him. At last he went to Herr Graf himself. "Will your Excellency buy a clock?" he said, trembling at his own boldness. "I would not ask, but it is Christmas, and I am needing to buy happiness for some children." The Herr Graf smiled. "Yes, I will buy a clock, but not that one. I will pay 1,000 gulden for the clock thou hast had in thy window these past 4 days." "But, your Excellency, that is impossible." And poor Herman trembled harder than ever. "Poof, nothing is impossible. That clock or none, get thee home, and I will send for it in half an hour, and pay thee the gulden." The little clockmaker stumbled out. "Anything but that, anything but that," he kept mumbling over and over to himself on his way home. But as he passed the neighbor's house, he saw the children at the window with their lighted candle, and he heard Trudy singing. And so it happened that the servant who came from the Herr Graf carried the gift clock away with him, but the clockmaker would take but 5 of the 1,000 gulden in payment. And as the servant disappeared up the street, the chimes commenced to ring from the great cathedral, and the streets suddenly became noisy with many people going thither, bearing their Christmas offerings. "I have gone empty-handed before," said the little clockmaker sadly. "I can go empty-handed once again." And again he buttoned up his greatcoat. As he turned to shut the cupboard door behind him, his eyes fell on the Christmas apple, and an odd little smile crept into the corners of his mouth and lighted his eyes. "It is all I have, my dinner for 2 days. I will carry that to the Christ child. It is better, after all, than going empty-handed." How full of peace and beauty was the great cathedral when Herman entered it. There were 1,000 tapers burning, and everywhere the sweet scent of Christmas greens, and the laden altar before the Holy Mother and Child. There were richer gifts than had been brought for many years. Marvelously wrought vessels from the greatest silversmiths, cloth of gold and cloth of silk brought from the East by the merchants. Poets had brought their own songs illuminated on rolls of heavy parchment. Painters had brought their pictures of saints and the Holy Family. Even the king himself had brought his crown and scepter to lay before the child. After all these offerings came the little clockmaker, walking slowly down the long, dim aisle, holding tight to his Christmas apple. The people saw him, and a murmur rose, hummed a moment indistinctly through the church, and then grew clear and articulate. "Shame! See, he is too mean to bring the clock. He hoards it as a miser hoards his gold. See what he brings? Shame!" The words reached Herman, and he stumbled on blindly, his head dropped forward on his breast, his hands groping the way. The distance seemed interminable. Now he knew he was past the seats. Now his feet touched the first step, and then there were 7 to climb the altar. Would his feet never reach the top? 1, 2, 3, he counted slowly to himself, then tripped and almost fell. 4, 5, 6, he was nearly there. There was but one more. The murmur of shame died away, and in its place rose one of wonder and awe. Soon the words became intelligible. The miracle! It is the miracle! The people knelt in the big cathedral. The bishop raised his hands in prayer, and the little clockmaker, stumbling to the last step, looked up through dim eyes and saw the child leaning toward him, far down from Mary's arms, with hands outstretched to take his gift. Hi there, kitty. Did you like that story? A nice purr. Want to shut this off? Have a nice purr. Yes, you do. You like that story, huh? Became intelligible. The miracle! It is the miracle! Is that better? The people knelt in the big cathedral. The bishop raised his hands in prayer, and the little clockmaker, stumbling to the last step, looked up through dim eyes and saw the child leaning toward him, far down from Mary's arms, with hands outstretched to take him. She came to hear the story.
Give her a finger. Let's see if she'll
Has it still on?
Mm-hmm. Give her a little finger.
No, she was purring.
I want to see if the recorder will pick up her purr.
Purr? Purr?
Give her a finger.
She purrs if you pet her. A nice girl. Hey, kitty. She's purring. Isn't she? Purring? Hmm? A nice girl. Hmm?
This kitty's name is Ocean.
She'll bite it.
I think it works better with using the microphone. Do you want to hear how it sounds?
Yeah.
Okay, hold on to this for a minute.
I'll turn it off.
There's a switch right there. Doesn't do anything, but you can turn it if you want. Is it on?
Yep.
Bye.
Right, Dad.
Come out here. Hey, John. Come on this way. See how deep it is.
Gonna get wet. Is it about 2 feet?
Well, where I haven't shoveled it. It's that high.
How high?
Shovel. Up to there.
Huh.
Up 3 feet. It's all come down in the space of about 10 hours, 8 hours. Because we shoveled this once, didn't we?
Yeah.
We could zoom in on that snowblower sitting idle over there. We could dream how much we wish we still had one.
Where's the snow? Where? Yeah. That's deep.
There's a spot over there between here and the corner that hasn't been shoveled at all yet.
Where?
Over there by Pat's house. Looks like one person tracked to it, but nobody shoveled it.
That's pretty deep.
Wasn't many years ago that you and all your friends would have been sledding down the hill about now, where that car is sledding down.
Oh, the camera's getting pretty wet, so I'm going in.
Introducing Tear-Free Her Plus for kids. It's not just a tear-free shampoo. It's a detangling conditioner, too. Tear-Free Her Plus for kids. Easy on eyes, tough on tangles. Honey, it can't look that bad. How bad is it?
No one can afford a bad thing, but now you can afford a great one at the styling salon at JCPenney.
That's bad.
Today he's learned responsibility. And they do a great job. So there's no food left, no tomato seeds left back on the plate. They always pre-rinse and they never overload.
No matter who does the dishes, Cascade does the dirty work. Dishes wash without sheeting action are left looking dirty. But Cascade with sheeting action gets them so clean they're virtually spotless.
perfect. Everyone should get their schneid.
It's a race against time to get enough calcium, because kids grow 95% of all the bone they'll ever have before they reach 18. Now there's a new way to help them build stronger bones. Introducing Sunny Delight Plus Calcium, a full day's supply of vitamin C and as much calcium as milk in every glass. Thanks to Fruit Cal, a unique way to get calcium. A winning way to help build stronger bones. And it's only found in Sunny Delight Plus Calcium, the good stuff kids are built on.
What turns a seemingly normal human being into a cold-blooded killer? To truly understand, you must delve into the minds of murderers. Onlookers to their tortures and their lives, their secret fears and fantasies, the madness behind their behind methods. Introducing the library of true crime, viewed from time-lost books. Uncut and uncensored, it's an in-depth report of crimes for love, crimes for money, and crimes that defy all logic and humanity. Call now for your first book, Serial Killers, yours free to examine for 10 days. Keep it and pay just $12.99. Other books will follow, one about every other month. With hundreds of rare photographs, facts, and interviews, Time Life will help you understand the twisted motivations for unthinkable crimes. So call now for your free 10-day examination of serial killers. You won't just look into the eyes of a killer, you'll look through them. They only see the light of day if they can survive. Cowards.
I'm stubborn, but...
Opening down there. What an aerobics class, huh? There.
Is there anyone who would care for that Chinese suit with or instead of their clam chowder?
What Chinese soup?
It's that egg drop soup.
Oh, well. I see this one back to videos.
Here, kitty, 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 kitty. Kitty, 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 kitty. Where is she?
Here. She's got a little face coming out of me.
Power of America.
Kitty, 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 kitty.
A sense of belonging, the voice of one of thousands.
Open the peephole for a minute.
That's how I got her in. I just opened the flower shop right.
Religious landscape of America is undergoing
You know that the Catholic Church changed their baptism to a baptismal font.
To, immersion? No, I didn't know
Yeah,
that.
and it's not infant anymore.
Really?
Really.
The Catholics or the...
The Catholics. The Catholics downtown. The Cathedral of the Madeleine, the one that's been reconstructed all this time.
You said it has an immersion baptismal font?
Yes, it has an immersion baptismal font now.
You're going to see another major change in the Catholic Church soon. They're going to allow priests to marry.
Really?
They haven't announced it, and the Pope is against it, but I can't see how any other way, because the priesthood has dropped down to almost nothing now. 10 years ago, they had 42,000 priests in seminary school. Now they have about 6,000 total. That's, yeah. Open that little door, let me get a picture of her in there.
Spiritual shoppers who are also turning to alternative religions.
The challenge for the religious institutions is to find a way to move the best of both of these worlds, the traditional and the new spiritual thinking of many of their members.
I'd like to go see it. They said that they restored it to its original.
Researchers say all this points to something dramatic. Unlike generations before them, baby boomers are far more concerned with the journey to spiritual fulfillment than they are with the destination. Martha Raddatz for CNN, Washington.
That's our reports for this half hour, but...
It is me.
You got a tummy ache, sis?
About you or about myself either. I'm strong, but your mother and father, and Selena, the twins. Can't you see what you're doing to them?
Say goodbye.
Bye. His time, you know, he's on Medicaid.
Does he have Social Security?
We receive Social Security for him now, and so we pay for Medicaid.
Mm-hmm.
We
But,
pay
I mean, he's eligible for disability through Social Security, isn't he?
That's what we receive.
Now, does when you told me before that you were taking care of him, does the government pay for family members to care now?
No.
They didn't use. I wonder if they did that now.
No.
You're saving them thousands and hundreds of thousands.
Oh dear, well, no, and we just don't get any help. I've tried to.
You don't get like a nurse to come in.
Oh, kid, like today, we were supposed to have an aide today, and, well, but the weather's bad. Yeah. And he called and said, I can't come. Last month, it goes from month to month. Last month, they couldn't even make up the hours. They missed so many hours. And I said, if someone would just come so I could just go out for a few minutes, you know, go away. And then they send a young man that doesn't know what to do for him. They're always so untrained and unskilled that they can't help us anyway. Yeah, it is.
You literally don't get out.
You ever heard of a prisoner? That's why I'm so thrilled. This is fun to get out right now. Your house looks beautiful, honey. Ronnie, I just say, I'm leaving. I'm leaving.
Well, Carol, I've been recording a few minutes of you, as you can see. We've just been taking the pictures of friends who come to visit, so we just wanted to get a few minutes of you on there. This is Carol Mann, one of our good friends from the ward. Yes. Bye-bye.
The experts at the Granite Home Furnishing Superstores know how to get clothes clean. They'll help you find the washer and dryer you need with names like Whirlpool, Magic Chef Stain Cleaner, Hot Point, and KitchenAid. And since your money buys more washer at Granite than anywhere else, your clothes will naturally get cleaner.
So when you need a washer or dryer or any extra appliance, come to the Granite Home Furnishing Superstores and clean up.
You have a watcher by you, Roger. I'll bet you could get her to stick her tongue out and you could just lick all the stamps with her.
There's a medicine you'll like. This is different. It relieves your sneezing, sniffling, aches, and coughs without.
Then you could write CW.
Medicine which has 25% alcohol.
You could write SWCS on each one, sealed with cat spit.
I haven't seen any music stars, have you? No. Is that Cindy Crawford?
You know, when you see them in person, it's always a disappointment.
I just found out.
Here's your passing, Miss Crawford.
How you doing, Sharla? Tell us how you're doing tonight.
How long did it take you, Betsy? You didn't do this one, did you, Ellie? No.
We're home in the night, friends hanging out, watching Coop on Friday night. Real TV. Real TV. Sports about paradise, 7 days a week.
14 Cable 12.
What was that you were saying about those nice lodgings you had out by the sea?
You could do it a little bit higher up.
Mom. Just come on.
No, I'm not. What are you selling my
No, oh, no. Everyone says Mom is such a charming place, and so they say. Besides, Pop, you've never very good. As long as we go together. Yes.
Bye.